Hey, do you want to be viciously mediocre in the next year? If so, I have the prescription for you. I'm Joe Polizzi, and here's a little taste of that in Content Inc. episode 476. Actor Jeremy Piven, known for his roles in Entourage and Old School, was interviewed recently at a National Basketball League game in Australia. The interview asked Jeremy to give some advice to the players on the court, speaking as Ari Gold, his agent character in Entourage, and Jeremy went on to say this: "You have a finite amount of time on this planet. You can be viciously mediocre, or you can get the F after it." Now, I've watched this clip at least a dozen times. I've never heard it put in such a way how so many people decide, yes, decide, to be viciously mediocre. So let's play with this a bit as we head straight into the next year. Here's my plan for you if you decide to be viciously mediocre in 2025. Number one, work for someone else. The odds of you doing something truly amazing are almost impossible if you work for someone else. Not impossible, but almost impossible. If you want to make real change in the world as it relates to your career, set your own hours, hire your own people, be in complete control, or as much as possible, if you're successful or not. Number two, create content on more than 3 platforms. Now, if you're a media company and you have a legion of content creators who can focus on different platforms, great. But most of us don't have those resources. If you have limited resources, please put your energy into 3, 4, or 5 different platforms, and you will be viciously mediocre. Real success comes from focusing on 1 or maybe 2 platforms. Focus in content creation is truly king. Number 3, create things in a highly competitive area. That's right. If you want to be viciously mediocre, focus on an industry that everyone is jumping into. I'll give you an example. How many creators and marketing thought leaders do you know jumping into AI? It's like moths to a flame. Sure, 1 or 2 of these people will be successful, but almost all will simply be viciously mediocre. Number 4, put your money in bonds and stock ETFs. You have to beat 7% a year just to keep up with inflation and money printing. A mixture of bonds and ETFs will help you be viciously mediocre and enough to keep your head above water, but that's probably it. Number 5, lean heavily on AI tools to create your content. Now, to me, AI stands for average information. I'm not saying that AI tools can't help you with your processes, but if you are heavily leveraging AI to actually create your content, you too will be viciously mediocre. And that's your 2025 prescription for being amazingly and viciously mediocre. Work for someone else and not yourself. Create content on 3 or more platforms. Create content in a highly competitive area. Put your money in traditional bond and stock ETFs and lean heavily on AI tools. Sadly, this is what most content entrepreneurs are doing. And that is why most creators out there are very much so mediocre. But you don't have to be. You have a choice. Make the right one. This is Joe Polizzi. Remember, success comes from creating thoughtful content consistently over time. Keep creating, keep connecting, and I'll see you next week on the Content Inc. podcast.